just scroll those. You can see that those are no caller. What is it? No caller ID. Yeah, 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 yeah. And there's about 8 at the front and a couple last night. Okay, no, it's no problem. I just wanted to mention that a little bit. No caller ID too is this 510 number right here at the top. These are all no caller ID because those numbers are blocked out. But then when they get frustrated, they will use the other number thinking that I might answer that because it shows up on here. Well, I want to show you these because these others will disappear. The no caller ID will disappear. They won't show up on anything. But there's a lot of them from the other phone that will. Even if the ones that show up from time to time is sufficient enough to show, yeah, that the interest is from them in me, not from me in them. Because you can't find nothing what I call them on any number. Only one time they call them butt calls, you know, where your phone hits the number. And I looked at it, boop, it didn't have time to ring, but it might have time to show up on there, but it'll show that you didn't speak, you didn't have time to call. Or it will show 3 seconds or something Anyway, believe it or not, dear believers, we live in a very cranktastic time. It's unbelievable. Now, for us, it might be a mild surprise, but I mean, imagine the people. If we go back from, maybe if we start right now and go backwards for a minute. All of these things that are happening right now, we talked about them way back when. In fact, when we came back here, my goodness, that was over a year ago. I came back here in November. I came back in December, and I stayed this whole year. I came back, I was going to pick my daughter up at school, which I did, and brought her here. And then that was it. I mean, we was stuck here all the time. Then on January the 3rd, Qasem Soleimani was assassinated. We stayed during that period because you got to remember, all the period before, we was talking about the importance of Najaf and Karbala, and why are 22 million people going from Najaf to Karbala? Why are 25 million going? Maybe they inflate the numbers, but if you inflate it from 20 to 25 million, that's not a serious. It was a lot of people there. And we were saying, why are they coming there? It's basically the question. Why are they coming there? Najaf and Karbala, which those are in Shiism, those are the key places. Najaf, Karbala, Imam Hussein, Imam Ali, all of those type. So what we were hitting on is that over the years, before Saddam Hussein didn't allow those demonstrations there from olden times. And when Saddam in 79 or 80 became the president, or maybe 70, he didn't allow those large-scale gatherings like that. But when Saddam was taken out, the first one was 4 million people walking barefooted. And if the world might want to know why are these people doing that? So we gave a talk. This is now, time be passing. This is back in the 90s. Yeah, it was back, not those 90s, but it was about at least 10 years ago, 10, 12 years ago. We were explaining to the people, it was around the 2004 era. That's when it was. When we wanted to explain Shiism to the world, or to the people, some that had missed what it meant and stood for. So then I explained what all of this stood for and what it meant. Then in recent years, the demonstrations began to develop, and then it would be 7 or 8 million, then 10 million. Then it's called Ziyara. They go there for a visit, and they come from Iran, they come from Iraq, they come from Pakistan, and of course they come from Iran. Probably the biggest group is Iranians. Going to Iraq, Najaf and Karbala, where Imam Hussein was martyred. For them, this is a big deal. For the Shia community, it is a big deal. And so they go back there for that commemoration. Every year they have it. They have the commemoration, and then they have Arba'in. That's 40 days after. So if you have a celebration of martyrdom, 40 days later they have one that may be twice as big as the original one. And this all has to do with some of the rituals that are common in Sunnis and Shias, and some that are special for Shias. Okay, now in recent years it's leveled off at an astronomical rate. But there are things that are happening in the Muslim world. Well, even today, they said they was going to stop shipment of weapons to Yemen. They will stop shipments of, not to Yemen, to Saudi Arabia, who's at war with Yemen. I'll go over that again. They're stopping shipments, according to a report, to Saudi Arabia, who has killed the children, women, and caused the biggest disease scare in that part of the world. And remember, it's the richest Arab country in the world fighting against the poorest Arab country in the world, and the richest, with U.S. aid and support and all that, haven't been able to break the wheel in the back of Yemenis. This is one of the things that they don't understand. One of the things is that when you take everything from everybody, you done toughened them up, because you can't take nothing else. That's what Yemen is. Yemen is so poor, so out of it, as far as we're concerned, that there's nothing else they can do. They bomb all the wedding facilities, and they kill all the children. Cholera, this is an ancient disease. You never hear of it anymore, but it's spreading like wildfire in Yemen because of the lack of cleanliness, medical facilities, water. Remember, if you kill the pumps off and electricity, you can't pump no water. If you can't pump no water, wait a minute, what about the crops? Only thing you can do is go out and hand, if you can get enough water up to the top of the ground, just go and water by hand with a bucket. They sent Yemen back to the Stone Age, but they haven't been able to break it. Hey, man, look, you want to go back to the time of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam? You go back, watch those people. They are exhibiting, in reality, the same type of lifestyle, same attitude, the same everything And I'm not saying they're not trying to do it, but they're just doing it. When you kill somebody and that person becomes so famous, his life becomes more important if he'd have kept doing what he was doing. Qasem Soleimani, he was big. He was unifying and organizing and giving focus to the movement. That's why they martyred him. But his death, shoot. Him and Mohandas, they had both of their caskets together in Iraq. They went to Iran, and then they finally buried him. I'm telling you. Their death had a bigger impact than anything you could imagine in life. Anything you can imagine in life. That's why the Quran says, speak not of those who are slain in the way of Allah is dead. They're alive, but you don't know how. You see what I mean? So we had programs, people still have programs about Malcolm X. In the heyday, we had them all the time, every time. But Malcolm X is so famous, they had to make a movie about him. Then everybody became, they was wearing Malcolm hats. Malcolm 10, they used to call him. We say, you know who that is? Who? That 10? Malcolm 10? I said, no, Malcolm X, that's all right. We'll talk about it later. They didn't, the people, okay. Now the government did that on purpose. They did that to make it popular, make it the style, and in the style, like clothes. You wear a certain type of clothes, you in style. You wear other type of clothes, you out of style, right? So those Malcolm hats and everything, the big X shirts, during the 90s, 92 and all that, was in style. If you had it in 94, it was out of style. That's one of the ways they do our leaders, or even their leaders. They bring them in, then they send them out. At one time, a few years ago, Alexander Hamilton was in style. Now they want to replace him on the money with Miss, what's the name of the lady, the black lady? Yeah, the one that took everybody all around the Underground Railroad. Yeah, we know. Yeah, okay, huh? Miss Tubman, yeah. So they bring a style, in, then they take them out. We fought against that all the time. We've been right at the front of everything all the time here. We won't let them manipulate our status. We manipulate our own status. The things that they do with us and against us try to make us move to get into their clutches. Not clutches as such to get grabbed, but their trend of things. Like if you see that's 10 or 11 hits in the last few days. Yeah, we don't answer that. We don't answer that because, well, we do answer it a little bit. One time we had to, well, we're going to take care of all that. In fact, we're going to take care of it very soon. Very soon. We're going to go back to California, and we've been ready to do that for years. But things kept coming up. When I was in California last time, I was in California, and I was getting ready to put all of this in motion. Then we had a custom. We'd always ride together, the family, which this time it was just myself and my daughter. I had to go up to her college and bring her home. I went up, brought her home. You know, just a nice little family ritual that we go to. And so I left in December, maybe December 19th. I was going to be back because I had a court date January 6th or something like that of last year. So I was going to come up, take her up there, and come right on back. But on January the 3rd, they martyred the brother Qasem Soleimani. To me, I said, that's it. That's what we, not them, that's what we've been waiting for. And we've been talking about it. Just think about it. Anybody got a memory? Think about it. We talked about this all the time. It has a special meaning. We know what the meaning is, but they don't. Now that's saying something. That we, African Americans, right here, so-called Sunnis, we know what that means, and they don't. The Shias don't. It's not new. We've been giving lectures for decades, pointing out the way. Why? Because a gift that Allah gave us that we would tell them a lot of times, y'all doing it was technically this is our revolution. We was saying that the revolution in Iran was technically ours because we be misfitting all the time and misfiring. So we needed you guys to do it. And then anyway, it's like a big joke, but let me tell you this. Those estimations were very close to accurate. Very close to accurate. Because for years, we have been very sensitive to all these things that are going on there. That's why we said there's stuff getting ready to happen. They don't know what it is, and Boss Man don't know what it is. And he don't know how it's all working. But when you saw Aga Soleimani, Qasem Soleimani, get assassinated on the 3rd of January last year, it all fell into place. Nobody knew it fell into place but us. Think about it. When you think about those things, when you remember those things, then you will remember who we are, where we are, and what part we're playing. It don't make no difference what they say. They playing some different part, but we know something about the part we're playing. And we know how this world is interacting with us. We understand what's going on, even if the people don't understand what's going on. Some of the people understand some parts of what they're doing, some parts of what they're playing, but they do not have the whole picture. Now, let me step back a minute. That's not saying that we got more sense than they do, that we got more this. Here's what it is. During every period of time, everyone is given some function and some mission within that period. And that's our period. We've earned this, call it status. We've earned this blessing. You got to remember the things that are happening to us, around us, and about us are very important. They're important to the world, and they're important to us. Okay, but we're not going to pretend that we don't understand what we're doing. Sometimes we do. That's how we play with people sometimes. No, it's gotten to that certain thing. We're doing what we do, how we're doing, is because what Allah has given us. The things that have happened in and around and about us, if they happened to somebody else, they would have responded different because they have a different makeup, a different character. We have responded the way we responded to this historical period and this historical status that we have is because of what Allah have given us and the time that we have not just arrived, because remember, we've been here a while. When they talk about this Islamic revolution, we're one of the only groups in America that saw it right away and stuck with it all the way through. If you think I'm joking, go find the amount of people in America that stuck with it all the way through, and it was really with it. That they didn't do things that harmed the revolution. So I didn't know what I was doing. You know what I mean? We haven't did that. We haven't did nothing. No one has reminded us of anything that we have done that have had a negative influence on the revolution in Iran. Others have harmed it, and they play like, oh, I didn't know what I was doing. Oh, I did that. Oh, my goodness. Okay, we haven't did that. We had been studying about Islamic revival and all of that for years, back in the early 70s. When this revolution in Islamic Republic happened, some of us said, this is it. A lot of us said that, but only a few stuck with it. So what you have to imagine is As-Sabiqun going most of this way alone. So that's what Sabiqun do a lot. They go out ahead of everybody else, in front of everybody. Right? They win the race. They anticipate what's going on in the society. That's what they do. They anticipate Islam, and they anticipate what their role is in it, and they go out in front of everybody and they do their role. They don't wait for approval of nobody. So a lot of times you don't know what picture the other people are going to have of them as Muslims and non-Muslims. If you look at Yahud, one part of Yahud said that man is the devil, talking about me. That's they said, you can find it anywhere. Everything. Then they got quiet. They said, let's shut up because we're making him more popular. Well, that's what I would do. I would harass them and say stuff, and then they made me the most popular man for a period of time in the U.S. The Yahud, the big ones, Abe Foxman, AIPAC, Daniel Pipes, Steve Emerson, all of these, they were big boys a few years back. They are still big boys. There was one time we had them all on our case, and we was happy as we could be. More. Why? Because the more they focused on us, the more understanding the people got of who we was. Then they said, we better stop talking about that nigga. You know. Yeah. Psychological guerrilla warfare. It was 10 years ago. It was actually more than that. 10 years ago. And psychological guerrilla warfare, talk about them. Then in return, they talk about you. Why? We don't have the news facilities. We don't have nothing. Like the lectures that we put out, inshallah, they'll get around, hopefully. If not, we'll duplicate them and we'll get them out. Eventually, we'll have something to give to everybody for decades to come, these lectures. Pretty soon, we'll print As-Sabiqun, Al-Awwalun. We'll have them printed, the old ones. But we'll have the new ones that we're getting ready to do. Some of them will be written back because the written word. So we'll select many of these and we'll have them done perfectly, where we'll scratch out all of this and misspelling. and we'll have them rewritten. But we'll have professional people do that they make sense. You see what I mean? And it grabs the people. And we got so many of them. We got so many of them that it'll be volumes of books and books. Volumes of them. Book after book after book. We got one set done, volume 1, 2, and 3 of the earlier As-Sabiqun from 2000, what is it, 2005? That's not 2005. It might be. 1,900, well, like we said 1995. Yeah. Those are, when you read them, it sounds like somebody else wrote those boys. Well, we wrote better in those days. And then we had somebody. Well, we're going to do all of those things. Don't worry about it right now. We will have a facility soon to do all of those things. We'll have the facilities to hire as many people as we need. That's our first stage. The period where we get all of our literature written, collected, and the beginning of distribution of it. Really good quality literature. We'll put some of it into books like the writings of Imam so-and-so. And it might be a 500-page writing. And then you have volume 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We already have that. We just haven't did it yet. We got the ones from way back from the 1990s, 1995 up to about 2010. Do you know that's 15 years of writing, high quality writing. Right now it's in 3 volumes. But we're going to have volumes and volumes. We'll have experts go through our literature and update it. Bring the English out perfect. Not rewriters, but people that enhance the writing. You know, we're going to do all of that. We're going to do all that, and it's not going to be any problem because we're going to sue the government for $100 million. And you buy $100 million. Well, we don't say if, but it's possible had we been left alone. That's not. From the 1980s up to now, had the proper circumstances been available, and if Allah will, we could have had, 100 masajid full of people, everything. Easy. We're going to have more than that because writings transcend the spot where you're in. Writings transcend time, place, and circumstance. Just the writings that we have right now in our first volumes, when I read them now, the ones from the 90s, 2000s, it looked like somebody else wrote them. Okay, now, I want you to think about us here. How well do we forecast? Well, we forecasted all the things that are happening right now, we forecasted all of those. Everything that happened right now, we forecasted them. Okay, so therefore, we had special attention. Let's see what we got here. U.S. Department of State wishes to bring to the attention of the embassy that Mr. Clarence Reams, also known as Abdul Ali Musa, with my birthday, the United States government has information including that Mr. Reams is receiving payments, some funds from the It's called the Embassy of Pakistan, but it's the cultural center, we call it the Daftar. It's the embassy intersection of the Islamic Republic of Iran here in the U.S. They have representation. Technically, it's not an embassy, but that's what it works as. Okay, so the FBI stopped by here the same time they stopped by your house around there. They stopped by here, and then they dropped off a couple of little press releases and a few more. And they was telling me the international conferences supporting the Islamic Revolutionary Guards, Intelligence Operation New Horizon, organization and associated individuals. These are people that, let's say, if we were involved in, they are now banned. And this is 2 years ago. They're banned from Donald Trump. Well, Donald Trump, they have malicious cyber campaign targeting U.S. personnel. And then they have the names of the people. The U.S. intelligence envoys and everybody have been killing Iranians, shooting down these apparatuses of the Islamic Republic, killing individual Iranians, sabotage, 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 subversion, subversion, subversion. But they're saying to Iranians, it's illegal for you to fight back. Right? It's illegal for you to defend yourself. Can you imagine? They say that and they mean it. Hey, you're not allowed to defend yourself. And if you look at whatever they're trying to do, they're trying to get rid of missiles from the Islamic Republic of Iran. They're trying to get rid of powerful explosive devices. They're trying to get rid of intelligence networks. Anything that the Islamic Republic have that makes it powerful and strong, they say you can't have that, or we don't want you to have that. Therefore, we're going to isolate you. We're going to cut you off. They bomb and kill nuclear scientists, I mean, by the dozens. And it's okay. But why? Because we don't want you to defend yourself. Now, the only one to go for that is the American Negro and a few more people. We want to be defenseless. We want to trust you to defend us because you've been honest with us. You've been good to us. Okay, what do you think? What do you think those people overseas think when they do the same thing? They say, oh, you want us to give up our defensive weapons so you can walk all over us. That's what they say, right? That's what everybody say. I'm saying that our associates have not taken that road. Our associates have evolved, and now they might not be number 4 in drones in the world. They might be way up there in missile technology, right? They're up there with North Korea and the bottom end on Chinese defenses. Some of the other second-tier countries, they're not first-tier. They're only first-tier in drones. So they're number 4 in the world in drones. Probably number 4 or 5 also in cyber warfare. So they got that way by themselves, by their own individual Defense Department, not depending on other people. You see what I mean? They're taking a lot of hits, but so are we. If you look around here, hey man, nobody has even come close to surviving the amount of time that we've survived as a community. They just don't do it. I'm not saying they can't do it, but they haven't done it yet. And we've done it, not with a smile. I'm not saying if you look here and you see a carpet popping up, if you go downstairs, you'll see pieces. That's all right. I'm not saying that's all right, but it ain't no big deal. It ain't no big deal. Why? Because we're going to fix all that. We're going to fix it when we get ready. Yeah, we're going to fix everything when we get ready, right? And if you see something that's not fixed, or rebellion in its early stages, always is outfunded and outgunned by the enemy. They have bigger guns, their guns shoot a farther distance, all of that. So you have to be very strategic in what you're doing. That's why some of our articles from years ago were strategic management under conditions of repression. How will you operate your life, your organizations under extreme circumstances? We are under extreme, but we don't make it look extreme. There ain't nobody in the United States history that I know of that remained inside of the United States that have dealt with boss man like we have. It just ain't nobody. If you find them, just remind me in next class. Just go through you. No, just do it. And we'll say, yeah. And they've been here all of these 60 years or so. See, longevity, all our old articles that talk about these characteristics, longevity. To be here a long time. And we don't plan to leave no way soon. The way we look at it, we figure we got another 25 years. That means I'll be 100 then. That don't mean we're going to be here no 100 years. You'd be lucky you get here next year coming up. But it don't make no difference. See, look, we leave behind or we send forward a pattern of behavior that if you do it, you'll get there. If you do what everybody, you got to remember now what everybody else has done. There are people here representing the Islamic Republic. They have taken certain behavior patterns. Look where they are now. Look where they are now. Why? Because boss man is a liar. He double crosses people. To them, boss man wouldn't lie to us. Boss man, he telling the truth. Next thing, they're on the terrorist list. But boss man, we just signed a little accord. It's not a treaty. That's not a treaty. Yeah, we can do it or we don't have to do it. Okay, so when they want somebody to walk away, they bring in Don. Don do what they tell him. And believe me, Don is wonderful. Don't think Don is a bad boy. Don is wonderful, stupendous. No, Don, and you think his mission is finished? Don, his mission is not finished. And the stuff he do, he made insanity normal. He made insane actions normal. He got the QAnon lady, whatever she do, and they got bodies buried all over. They got the little kids didn't get blew away at this place and that place. They say whatever they want. And America's looking at them like, who the hell is that? Where did she come from? See, if you got a little crew and you believe those things and you keep them amongst yourself and you form your life on that pattern, it ain't no big deal. But when you roll out and you say those things, like study how we bring stuff out. We bring a little bit out at a time. By the time we get it all out, it's already happening right in front of everybody's face. It's already happening. We've been doing that all the time because presentation sometimes has a lot to do with reality. When you present it, how you present it, what are the conditions under which you present whatever it is you're making your presentation about, right? The environmental circumstances surrounding your presentation, right? So we've been saying what we say for decades, but we have to say it in a way at the right time when people can perceive it. You can't get mad at people. Them people are dumb. They slow. Man, the people are slow, and I told you that. I've been thinking that for 50 years. Well, you got to wait till the people. You got to wait on the people. But you got to prepare the people at the same time. There's waiting on the people while you're preparing the people. You're not going to sit around and wait on the people to get the idea. You'll be talking about gray bearded, you'll be dead. Waiting on the people to come to reality. Right now, you can watch these things on this is fifth generation drug dealers from my time. When it came on me at first, I said, boy, this is deep. It was evolved. This is in the mid-'60s. Now they got people who are in their mid-20s and they're considered old. They've already went through that process. Different drugs, sometimes the same drug, but do the same thing. Grabs the community, sets the community back, holds the community back, turns the community in on itself. We didn't do none of that. In Oakland, all of that they had it on the list. We're going to send drugs into Oakland. It's going to destroy everything, and that's that. Well, they did send them in there, but it didn't happen. Why it didn't happen? Because we perceived and we knew what they were doing. So what did East Oakland Enterprises do? East Oakland Enterprises took that ball and ran with it. So what we did was, with one group who got involved with us, we rescued them from poverty. Poverty. Everybody who was with us had big money. Now in those days, that's a big deal, because it wasn't nobody, there was no young people that had no whole lot of money. None. You can't get no money making $2.50, $3 an hour, which was good money at that time, don't get me wrong. 1965, $3 an hour was just fine. That's about $110 a week take home. And over about $6,000 a year. Shoot. Rent was $100 a month, right? Cars was little or nothing, right? I mean, you know, the richest car in America didn't cost but $5,000 or $6,000 a year, $6,000. You know, that was the biggest. They drove Cadillacs. So there's a Cadillac or Lincoln. And that was it. But even Mercedes was the same price. They was cheaper because they was a German car, foreign car. They was better, of course. And they didn't bust out till about 71, 72. By 73, everybody was driving Benzes almost. Wasn't driving Cadillacs and Lincolns no more. Do you know that a Cadillac was not even in the top 10 cars in the world? The only American car was number 7 in the world. It was a Lincoln. Peugeots and all them other cars were ahead of them. And I read a magazine. I said, what, a Cadillac ain't? For us, a Cadillac was like H-E-A-V-E-N. I mean, I'm telling you, the real heaven. When you got your Cadillac, you didn't need, I know they're just a regular car now, but that was a time. Hey, man. Anyway, so now here we are. We're in the middle of all of this. We're in the middle of all of this, and we're setting the pace. We're setting the pace. I'll get back on track here. The people if you saw this, you would see the people are calling us over and over again. Da, 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 da. Calling, 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 calling. Yeah. Because they want us to, to react to them. This is the crackpot crew. They said, we're in D.C. now. That's what they said last night. And we coming by. That's what they were saying. We're coming by there and we're going to straighten all this out. I say, you lying, you ain't in no D.C., dummy. If you was in D.C., you wouldn't call me and say I'm in D.C. You would show up at the joint. Y'all is joking. Or they'd be here right now because they called me today. They called me today 8 or 9 times. Well, you want to have your meeting? Last night, the meeting. Today? What are you talking about? You're not even here, silly. You know where the masjid is? But they can't come around here. Why can't they come around? Now, this might be, you can't tell whether I'm telling them I dare you to come around. But just imagine the things that have went before. What if they do come around here in D.C.? We're out in D.C. They've caused all that trouble in California. Why would they be here? They've assaulted me. They've did all kind of terrible things. It's all common knowledge. So that means they would be not pestering, what do they call it? They would be harassing me. Yeah. I have already tons of phone calls, right? So, oh my goodness, why are you here? Oh, you're here to harm me. Yeah, of course, we know how to play everything. It's big fun, right? Oh, So, I know they're lying. Well, why are they lying? Why are they doing that? They're at the end of the line. They're at the end of the line. Boss man had been trying to get me to finish running that. First, they wanted to get rid of us there in Oakland. They wanted to squash it all out. Okay. Then when they realized that they had stepped their feet out in there, around 2015, they stuck out too far, and they ain't got nothing from it, and everybody's watching them. Okay, so then, with everybody watching them, they got to now pull back and change the story. And in changing the story, the government has to try to get rid of, well, I'm not going to say that much because they will say what they told the court in California, that I threatened them. Can you imagine they done busted me upside the head? They done went down with the flimsiest of stuff. And they take me to jail for going in our own property. All of these are arrest reports from California. They're arrest reports from California. They have arrested me all of these times in Masjid al-Islam there. It doesn't matter whether I have anything. This is one of we have a larger one, but this is Masjid al-Islam. This is like a Beya thing. On this, if you look on the back, where John Hancock, you may not know who else signed the Constitution, but on here, Mukhtar Ali Mujahid, look at that, look just like John Hancock. See that big signature? That's Mukhtar Ali Mujahid. This is on our, it's a Beya form. Basically, it's saying about what we desire to do. This is 1995. We resolve to use Surah An-Nisa, Ayat 59, as the guiding principle of our actions. O you believe, obey Allah and obey the messenger. That means Atiullah, Atiya Rasul, wa ulul amr minkum. those who are charged with authority among you, if you differ in anything amongst yourselves, refer it to Allah and His Messenger. If you believe in Allah in the last day, that is the best and most suitable for final determination. What that means, and this is our first principle, that if anything come up, we don't call anybody from the outside. We take it to Allah, that's the Quran. We don't find a solution there, we take it, right, to Hadith, the Sunnah of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. If you find it there, if you don't find it there, then ul il amr minkum. Now that's a broad category of people. Ul il amr, those who are charged amr with authority amongst you, minkum, from you. That means our tribe, our group, we would choose as our representative, ulul amr minkum, those charged with authority from amongst us, to represent us and to represent reality, right? They didn't do none of that. They signed here. We got stacks of stuff what they signed here, right? We have big scrolls like this. This is, yeah. So here's what I'm saying. Look at, they ain't follow none of this. That was in '95. That whatever happened, we don't take it to any outside authority. We keep it in-house. So if the Negro calls the police 15 or 20 times, he's violating what he signed. And look at, just like John Hancock was probably a big hypocrite, look at this guy here. This is the biggest name on here. Yeah, the biggest one on there, signed on the back. We signed this in Philadelphia in 1995. We all got together and we knew what we were talking about and what we were doing because we agreed on the formation of As-Sabiqun. We'd been working all along, but now it was official. So as far as courts and what have you, we got that covered. We get the only trial we had was a couple of years ago. They found me not guilty of everything they were saying, and it had to be a little less than it was maybe, let's say, half an hour. You know where they pack food and cakes and fruits for the jury? The jury didn't even touch them. They went in and they said, they say, just go on out for a little break. When I come, the white lady called me and said, you can continue because they just found you not guilty. We do, you know, you walk out the building waiting and say, I'm going to go down, have a little lunch, maybe walk around, holler at everybody. They didn't have time. The jury walked in, they didn't even sit down. They just, not guilty. And they walked right back out. It was 38 minutes. That's the fastest, we call it the fastest jury in the West. Remember they used to have gunslingers that could draw and shoot real quick? That's the fastest jury in the West. I looked at the timeline. That jury was in and out. They didn't eat no food. They didn't do nothing. Okay. So we're going to do that again. We have 10 times the amount of stuff that we need. And we're going to sue the government. We'll start at $100 million. Because remember, you got to remember now, nobody has lasted this long. Nobody has been this skillful. Why is it that we would be the ones blessed to challenge boss man, to talk about him in front of his face? The white man is a sissy. What did we call it? How to punk the FBI, re-punk the FBI. All that stuff. We're making fun of the white man. How many people live to do that? You think they, yeah, nigga, we'll see. Just wait around the corner. You know, they come by and get you. We have had the pleasure, this is called longevity, over a long period of time, when you last a long time. That's, I think, one of the things that Allah have given us that we appreciate it all, but this longevity. Let me get to some of the points, or we'll be here forever and a day. So this is a battle of our time for us. This is a battle of our time, and we're feeding in with all the other peoples of the world. And all the other people of the world that are Muslims that have been making clear mistakes, they stuck with their butt out in the air too, just like the white man. Everybody that's double-crossed us and played with us. I had a call from down in Dixie the other day. Oh, would you do this? Would you do that? A few months ago, that's a long story. But here's the thing. We're not holding anything against people, including Mukhtar and Khadijah, especially them. I told them in 2014, man, I said, hey, you guys, well, I'll tell you a little later, but you got to remember what y'all said when you were here in D.C. In 2002. We're going to get our education, we're going to get upgraded. I said, that was them yellow niggas telling y'all that you dummies. You're dummies, and you need them to upgrade, because at that time the table was full of college grads, all from University of San Francisco, the whole show, right up here. And they're the only ones in our group that wasn't college grads. The others were telling them they were dumb, slow, and stupid. That's one of the reasons that Khadijah and Mukhtar turned on me. Although I was helping them and I told them, you study, you stick with us, you're going to make it all the way. But in order to make it with them, those people who look down on them, they have to stab me in the back who was trying to lift them up. It sounds confusing? Don't worry about it. Don't worry about the Negro, or you'll have backaches, heartaches. Man, the Negro will have you busy. You just look, you say, hey, okay, fine. And then you patch it up, put a little salve on it, and keep moving. But you never wait, and you never sit there by the bridge or by the curb meditating on what just happened. Because if you do, you'll lose sight of the whole thing. You lose sight of your mission. And you won't be able to help them because they don't know why they're doing what they're doing. The other people who are just a little above them, technically they're not above them. They're almost like even with them, but the white man done told them that they're above them. They look a little better, what white man call look better, right? So Khadijah looks at the other light-skinned ladies. Khadijah attacked the light-skinned, 3 or 4 light-skinned women in a row. The cutie pie, she just beat them up with her, because they didn't let her know you're big, fat, and ugly. Yeah. And she beat up the pretty girls. The niggas don't beat up the pretty girls. That's why she beat them up, because y'all you niggas like them. You don't like me. Just because I was 13 and had my first baby, and my mama died overdose or whatever it was, the casket was twice the size of everybody else's for Khadijah's mother. I'm not talking about playing the dozens, but I'm just saying. That worked on us. So when we try to help them, they look like something is wrong. We're going to take advantage of this nigga. Who's going to slide up to him and tell him that? those other niggas just got fired, and Boss Man. And Boss Man manipulated them, and Boss Man, after he done finished with him, tried to get him killed because they were determined, they was convinced, if they did enough to me, I would go down to a lower level, right? And I would respond by attacking them. The first thing we studied is why niggas fight niggas. That's the first thing coming out of the 60s. Why niggas always attack each other? Because they're afraid of the white man. Who will the white man get to attack you? Give him a few little cornbread, some chips and stuff, he'd do it. The other Negro. And all around the world, all the United States, look at the body count. You want to be sad? Look at the body count of drug wars and confrontation between blacks, black gangs, and all of that. And it ain't no high body count for the police. And they got big gangs. They're organized. Why right out there, you could see the police come, niggas would throw their guns away. But if another nigga come, they load up, ready to go. Niggas conditioned. We're not like that. No. We stay focused on Boss Man. Boss Man is the problem maker. And we never flinched on him, and we said, Boss Man, they're going to harass you and make a fool out of you. We call it discombobulation and all of that stuff. And Donald Trump fell in there. They couldn't see it, the deterioration with Clinton. And they tried to boost it up a little bit more with Bush. And then, Obama, now with Obama, they should have stopped and sold ice cream to Eskimos. Having a black man as president, the people are too dumb. The people down that town, they wouldn't listen to the big white folks. We got the world now. We got a Negro in it. We don't want that nigga in there. And they wouldn't cooperate. Just the Congress and other people. They couldn't make them do it. The big white folks that they knew, these is big white folks running this show, brought that Negro in here. They wouldn't do it because they've been racist too long to fight their own and say, well, it's better, we'll make more money, we'll run the society smoother, but it'll be a nigger doing it. And they couldn't do it. So they said, let's go and give them something else then. Let's give them an anti-nigger, right? So the next stage, they gave him what's her name? All at the wrong time. If you thought America was messed up 4 years ago, look at it now. You got to put in what's been happening to America. Every disease, every economic thing, every plague, it's biblical proportions, like they talk about this stuff. The plagues of America is unbelievable. Unbelievable. You couldn't have prayed up, well, you could have, these many plagues on one people at one time. Right? Now remember, the people are not always associated with the government, but in some cases they are, because the people carry out the government terms. But now, you look at the people came back from Iraq the first time, and they had all that Gulf War syndrome, and they gave them aspirins. And the people came back this time, with them IUDs and everything, and go anywhere now. They're running around crazy right now. Can you imagine over 20 Americans a day killing themselves from the Iraq conflict? Yeah, they dying like flies. They killing themselves like flies because they look and they say they made a fool out of us and they can't fix us. They can F us up, but they can't fix us. Right? They sent us over there on all that jive and they can't fix us. Yeah, they can fix They can keep people walking. They may not have nothing but a toothpick, and they have them walking down the street. Right? You can have no legs. They can walk perfectly with stilts. You can have one leg and run in a race. You see those people? Yeah, you can do all of that. Yeah, you can have a side of your head blown off. That's how medicine improved. Right? They can have these little gadgets stick on you, and now you can smoke a cigarette, light a cigarette, type, do everything you want to. Right? But the one that sent you is fine physically, and here you are blown to pieces. And medicine don't make it no worse. Medicine now, if they get you in there before your heart stop beating, or even after it stop beating, they can juice you up, puff, squeeze, and you rolling with all that trauma. You see? So we have a way in, dear believers. We're going to do, no matter what happens, and now they know it, the system know it. We're not doing none of that small nigger stuff. That's all what I'm saying. We're not doing no nigger stuff. We done already won the battle. All we have to do is wait. We done already won this one. No matter what happens. They haven't been able to. They confiscated our property. No reason against their law, against everybody's law. We just said, oh, you want it, you keep it. We'll get it back when Allah wants us to have it back. And that's the way we act. That's why these crackpots, you got 8 calls today and 2 yesterday. That's 10 calls. That's 10 calls. Because we're too relaxed and taking it easy. They done hooked it up to get you to move at their time. I know, what's the problem? Right? Hey, we already know what we're doing. This is not arrogance. I'm saying we done tested it too many times and tried it. That's why it is what it is. Okay. Plumbing. We'll do all that remodeling stuff a little later. Strategic. When courts open in California. Okay, we'll pass that. So this is a battle of our time. Everybody has to fight the battle in their time. Okay, we're using all of the modern techniques that Allah gave us to fight this battle in our time. And this time it takes a lot of patience, strategic management under conditions of repression. And I asked the gentleman down there at the thing, I said, how do you say patience in Chinese? He said, you wouldn't understand. I said, well, give me a try. He said, it's a dagger over you, and, you know, it had some other things to go with it, and I could get a piece of it that you have a dagger over your head, and you have to be patient to get it. He was half right. I said, well, I got some of it. I said, I know you got to take it easy, right? So he was telling me you wouldn't understand if I told you. I said, well, give me a try. That's what we done used on them. They are not, I want you to think about, say, black gangs, as murderous and killing as they are. Suppose they had patience with themselves and with each other. What would they do? What would they do with the money if all of a sudden they suck out $50 million, like their organization? And each one of them sucked another $50 million. And each one another one. Suppose the African Americans had a secret thing that we're going to use for the next year. We're going to pretend to spend a lot of money, you know, but we're not. We're going to consolidate. We're going to consolidate. We're going to consolidate, right? And then we're going to use that money. But we're going to use it as a unified, all of a sudden, Black America, everybody would be moving to Black America. They have more fun there. They have more money there, right? That's what they would be doing. We could still do that, but the Negroes don't have patience. When they start getting big money, you see these things on the TV and on the stuff now they have about the black gangsters, and they like, it's just, now they're younger and younger, and you see a guy, he's old-timey at 22 or 23. They show, right now you can see it. Okay, I left the country, I was 25 or 26. I had been through the whole show. The whole show to me was being a pioneer. See, in those days, the stuff that they're doing now with getting big money, it's worse than then because people are getting big money and they all go to prison. They all get killed. Now, it would be one thing if it was the first go-round like us. But now, this is the 5th generation of young people doing that, and they haven't learned nothing. They're getting worse instead of better. Yeah, they got young Negroes. The money they talk about they make, I said, God, dog. And they are making it. What was that? Denzel played the American Gangster. You know, that Negro was actually making that type of a money. $1 million a day, $3 million a day. And that was way back when. And then them other old Negroes was making that kind of money, they turned tattletales and stuff. Told on everybody because somebody was messing with his woman. Well, he in a dirty game. What, he think he married the Virgin Mary or somebody? So he told on, they said there's a whole cell block in Lewisburg. They named it after him because he filled all the Negroes in with it. Okay. We looked at it like this. Maybe it was heavily black orientated, which it was. And it was only a short period of that foolishness, you know, fancy dressing, a lot of this, that, and other. That was only a short period of time. Most of the time, we was packing money away, and we was sending money different places. And East Oakland Enterprises was basically to help the black man become something. And that's why in Oakland, that's why you hear about the Black Panther Party in Oakland, but if you go to the people, they didn't care nothing about no Panthers. They talked about us. Because of what our goal was, and we didn't tell everybody what our goal was, but we did it as much as we could in our time. The white man, when he realized the Negro done fooled him, right, then he was acting funny, you know, like, well, I said, hey, because you look around, you see what happened to everybody else that the white man get mad at. Well, in those days, they were all dying like flies. I said, you can keep America, boss man. I just got on out. And it kept happening. The second wave in the 70s, fourth wave in the 80s, fifth wave in the 90s. This is the seventh or eighth wave. All of it big, unbelievable money that we was never making that kind of money. But nobody ever used their money to organize the city. They used to say about our organization that we hired more people than the city of Oakland did, which is true. East Oakland Enterprises. Okay, so I'm going to move toward a close by saying a few things. And I'll just go over this a little bit. Black Lives Matter protests will stick around. You can see how they treated us downtown with this Black Lives Matter and all of that. But we had to tell them, we told the people about Black Lives Matter. We said, that stuff is not going anywhere. And then they realized it. Longevity, transgenerational experience. Transgenerational is when, if white folks get some money, they get to change it, transfer it to the next generation of white people. But you don't find in our line transgenerational knowledge or wealth. They get us to sell drugs or whatever it is to everybody. We collect their wealth and then we give it back to the system. So the lawyers get it, the bail bondsmen get it, right? The judges, all of them people get it. Okay. Shaping and hurting. We did reach at the end of the so-called Black Power movement. We found ourselves trying to hold that together. But the momentum of history was too strong. If you remember the Black Lives Matter protests down there, they didn't have any meaning. They didn't have any, where are we trying to go? Can you turn that heat up just a little? Well, that's okay. I'll wait till the brother get back. Okay. Oakland, relatives, Islamic movement. During this period, we're going to do some teaching about these stages of development and us observing the stages of development. Because we have been observing does not mean we have not been active. So we'll talk about East Oakland Azad, like they have Kashmir Azad. Azad is a word that means liberated. So East Oakland Azad would mean liberated East Oakland. DC Azad would be our area, which we're calling a liberated zone. Okay, now a liberated zone don't mean everything is functional and flying colors, everything going the right way. Right now, we're just coming out of that period of absorbing all the attacks of the system. Happily. We're not sad, oh, the white man make it hard on us to do this. No. Everybody sees what boss man be doing, right? Everybody, ain't nobody don't know. They might just say, and they gone out. But everybody knows what's going on here. Everybody knows what's going on here. So this is DC Azad, liberated DC. That don't mean don't get liberated with having everything you want. Okay, they've cut off most of everything, all our income, they didn't cut us off. So for me to be here talking like this, you would say, if you would read the books, you would say, that nigga, that is crazy, man. The white man got him boxed in, the white man did this way. That's what he'd be looking at. That's not true. This is like we have Azad, East Oakland Azad out there. We have DC Azad. This is the only liberated zone in DC. You said, the windows are all blocked up, the houses are not rented, they got chips down there, pieces falling out. That's not liberated, it is liberated. It's liberated because it's ours, and we know what we're doing. And they're the ones that fell into the trap, not us. Can you imagine how bad things are in the government. Look at the news. The presidency is falling apart. This guy is doing this, that guy is doing that. The white lady believes in spooks and mirrors and, right? QAnon, they eat little babies downtown, right? If you read this, you would say, them people is crazy. What the hell is wrong? Right? Tell the truth. You would say, what? And Don, you can dislike him or not, but Don is tailor-made for the truth. No, opposite of the truth. Don't get me wrong. Don is not going to purposely come up and tell you the truth. But he's going to show his behind. And he ain't going to get enough. And you said, we said, Don be out so in a few days so he'll be cool down. Don ain't cooling down. Don is going to stay on that truck saying, down, America, down. He going to drive him down. He ain't going to, no. When you talk about this is it, Don, whoever hired him, they sent him, your mission is not to come back alive, and nobody comes back with you, right? This is a suicide mission, right? And Don is carrying, you got to look at him. Ain't nobody coming back alive. Hey, Don is not allowing that. That boy, look here, I give him credit, boy, when to be uninformed. When it's his last day, he may not even have any idea how it happened. He may not be that cognizant, because he got some sense, but it's not formulating the same way history formulates. Collection and organization of evidence. We won't worry about that. A labeling and new temporary schedule. Okay. So, dear believers, we'll close with we call it the white man. We got the white man on the string. Can you turn up the heat just a pinch? Just a pinch. He dancing on the string, not us. Right? We're not going according to his dictates. He's going according to ours, and he has everything. He's not forecasting where we've been and where we're going. We're forecasting where he's been and where he's going. Right? Yeah, we're not. And he's been doing wrong so long, he don't have he has the ability, but he does not have the determination to do good. It don't strike him. And all the people they hired to go along with this, they feel the same way. So you could give Kamala Harris a whole thing with just absolute truth on it, tell her to read it. She'd give it back to you. You kiss my behind. I'm not reading that. I'm not reading that. That's the truth. Right? Okay. So we got them on the line. It's like I tell you, the Negroes call. We don't call them back. I have to explain nothing to them. They have to call us. We're waiting. We're forcing them to wait this stuff out. You got to look at what's going on. We are dictating the battle space, the whole reality, not them. We tell them what Don's getting ready to do. Well, you can do something about it. If you're not, don't make us no difference. You don't see us lose no sleep no matter what happened. It doesn't make a difference to us. We've mentioned it to you. If you need our help, that's what we tell Boss Man. Boss Man, if you need a little help, we go ahead. We ain't gonna be mad at you. We ain't gonna try to do you no harm. Eventually, there's white people that not only believe that, they know that. But you know, they're in a system, if they misfire, they know they're gonna be on the outs and they're afraid. There are people in the FBI, not bad people, but they're afraid. They're afraid. I know they're afraid because I know where they've been all along. They're just afraid. I'm not going to be what do they call them, when you tell on people? Whistleblower. I ain't going to be no whistleblower. I ain't going to blow no whistle. I ain't going to look. I know what's, because I talked to them. I said, hey, man. They read me a list. I said, that's not I said, that's your list, man. You're talking that stuff. And some of them, their eyes get big as though the nigga might be right. The people up top gave me the list and told me to say this, that, and another. And then when he hears something different from me, he stopped. The nigga's telling the truth. Then they got that big old gadget, you know what I mean, holding their hand. And it's right about a foot away from my head. The Korean guy is holding it. And the damn gadget is saying, true, 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 you know, the little brain wave. This is a thing that's got to be picking up brain waves. It's got to be. They're sitting right there. I'm sitting there. Don's sitting there. The other's sitting over there. And the one is sitting right next to that money box. And he's holding the thing out so it'll be close to my head. I'm not acting funny. I said, good. Here's what you do. At least you see that what I'm telling you is the truth. You know, before when it was a bigger machine, do y'all remember seeing a movie with the white lady that was running around jumping? She was a prisoner in North Korea and came home. What's the white girl's name? Her husband was a German botanist, not a botanist, but a spider man or something. Study. They came over. She was supposed to have been born in Russia, had school in Russia, came back over here. We all seen the movie Salt. Salt, yeah. Now, do you remember in that movie Salt, they had a room they put her in, and then they had this guy, the so-called Russian defector, and they would ask her, she would ask them a question, and they would say, "This is the truth," because they'd have brain waves and different color schemes in the brain. If it's hot over here, if it's red over there, if it's blue over, right? And so that's the way they was doing me. Now that was 10 to 20 years ago. So you know how fast technology moves, right? They condense it smaller and smaller. And plus they had operated on me 2 years ago downtown. They operated on me 2 years ago downtown. And what? They take something out or put something in. What do they do? Whatever it is, it was after that they had that operation and they were sitting right there, you know, with the thing that close to my head. I didn't say, what y'all white folks doing with that thing, or Koreans with that thing to my head, you know, picking up wavelengths or something. It doesn't make a difference. But what I told them, they reacted as though it was the truth, and that they was convinced of the truth, that it was the truth. Okay. So what I'm saying is, as we move along, you got to remember, you pick up things or you lose things. I believe we're picking up associates all along by sticking to what All kind of things are working, psychological things, sociological things, historical things. Some things are just human to human. And some white folks are saying to themselves, if that nigga can do it, I could do it. If he could tell the truth, I can tell the truth. Why? Because I'm white and he's a nigga. So I'm going to tell more truth than him. I'm going to help America more than him because he's a nigga and I'm white. Yeah. Allah be using everything in us, to produce what he wants. When the world is going down, it's going to go down. Ain't nothing you can get out in the way and try to stop it and get steamrolled. When it's on the way up, which the world is on the way back from a nightmare. The nightmare of World War I, 50 million dead. The nightmare of World War II, 60 million dead. Good God Almighty. Can't these people wipe out? They be wiping out folks, man. I mean, they be knocking, they be knocking folks. As the Germans say, Volks, Volkswagen, people wagon, They be wiping out Volks, man. By the way, Hitler's the one that come out with the Volkswagen. Yeah, back in the day. Volkswagen, people wagon. Anyway. Okay, dear believers. Are there any questions or any comments? As you're looking up questions, I believe we're going to pull through this big time. I believe that time is now. We don't say it's going to happen next week or tomorrow. It is in process right now. It's happening now. Yeah. And it's an honor for us to play a part. It's not a torture or a punishment to be in on this. It's a pleasure. It's a pleasure to be in on this. That means Allah wrote us in. Because the white man didn't write us in this. He did. He gave you a part to carry all the heavy stuff and fall off the cliff. You ever see them old Tarzan movies, anything? When they want to show you it's dangerous, the nigga fall off the cliff into the water and get ate up by alligator. Jane fall in the water and Tarzan go in there and swim over and whoop the alligator, take him out of the water, bust his head wide open. Yeah, that's right. You ever see a jungle movie that a nigga didn't fall in the water with all that load on him or fall off a cliff? Or a donkey fall off the cliff to show you how dangerous the environment is. Yeah. That scenery is over. Although if you just demand it, you can still play that part. You got to demand it, though. No, you got to demand it. I want to be a nigga to fall off the cliff. Yeah, I don't want to see good world and my children with a chance to improve the world in which they live. I want to fall off the cliff carrying the white man's bundle. Yeah. Did you find any questions?
Yeah, brother asked, do you think the U.S. will return to the agreement with Iran?
Yes, I do. If you ask me, do I feel that way? They're stalling so long that they want to do it down the line. But all the indications is that they're going to return to it. This is a feeling I have. Yeah. Yeah, this is a feeling I have. Because, see, Biden was for it all along. It was his administration. Although you can't get administrations overly mixed up, all administrations lie to us and to each other, too. They're just liars. And you can't say, well, you was a snake, then you bit me, and I'm a snake. No, hey, man, This is my nature. I bite people, I bite anything, a frog come by, I bite it. That's what I do. Okay. With the present situation, it looks like they're trying to wait on Iran a little bit to make them so anxious that they want to give away something to get back in this agreement. But I think the Iranians is smart enough to say, I ain't giving away nothing. You either come back to it the way it was, the way it is, or leave it alone. Because you never know that the white folks make an agreement so the next white folks come in can tear it up. They lie to each other, they lie to everybody. You don't know whether that was a plan from the very beginning to trick the Iranians into a deal. That's why it was a strong group in over there and here, us to say, you can't trust boss man. Boss man, oh my goodness. Boss man speak with forked tongue, yes he do. How the Indians know that? Because everything he said before, he go this way, they said, well, the white man, he's gone with all the land and all the resources. And if you discover oil on your land like in Oklahoma, he gonna come back and say, you gotta move over there. You talking about, you thought you're in the wilderness now, you wait till you get over there, but that's where you gotta go. And if you go over there and find gold or some heavy metal that they need, they might put you out where they didn't even know about uranium and stuff. It's a strategic metal, right? They didn't know about oil. They said, oil? Oh, great. They didn't know about that, but now it's worth everything in the early 1900s. Then they said, no, you go over here. Then you go over there, the Indians, that is. And it happened to be uranium over there, out in Nevada and all them places. They said, oh, yeah, shit, y'all got to go, man. No, sirree. But boss man, you just moved us over. I don't care what. Uranium. You know, think about it, out in Nevada, all out there. You don't find them finding uranium around these cities and on the east, right? It's all way out there in the west where the engines was. So boss man is a liar. And it's not that he could help it either. Yes, any more questions?
Said he wanted to send this to you, wanted you to see this. So I'm just kind of summarizing it. I don't know if you wanted to put any commentary on that, because I know that's a view as well that's out there that this is all psyop,
you know. Let's go back to the Indians. Smallpox on blankets and all that. You know, the shaitan can't help it because he's a shaitan. He can't take a reformative course. You can't reform him because that's his way of life. The European, I'm not saying he's the devil, but there was some people that called him the devil, a doer of evil, and it's just a lot of stuff. So anyway, about this coronavirus, I just told y'all that I was not going to take anything, and I just wait. You know, it's not, any big deal. Technically, I don't know enough about it, but I don't like the math. 2.5 Negroes dying per white people. You know, sometimes 3. That's in this country and overseas. I don't like that math. I don't like that math. I don't like that math at all. And it ain't getting no better. You know, so We discussed biological warfare decades ago. Biological warfare is you study the makeup, genome makeup of people, and you fix something specially that hit them. White man could be standing right next to him with such and such chromosomes, and it don't bother him. It just bothered the nigga standing next to him. Or the Mexican, whatever they are, the tribal people from all over the world. It hit them. We all got certain makeups, and they can design something, a designer killer, and it'll kill you in huge numbers. And just because the Negro doctors come and the Negro movie stars say, please take this, well, you go and take it, nigga. I ain't taking none of that. You know, come see me in 50 years. Yeah, if it's all that good. You ought to be here if you leave next week, nigga. It's because you took that juice. I just stick with, you know, no, I don't know enough about it, but I know the pattern of behavior of the system. The behavior of the system is always done that. Okay, so I haven't seen no difference in the behavior, the system's behavior, right? And then the people that's fixing it up a little bit, they might have tried to use it on them. They might have tried to use the Chinaman killing thing, but the Chinamans jumped on it because they getting up there. And they might have been mad. They call it the Kung Fu Hung. And all the Chinamen said that stuff wasn't here. Y'all brought it over here. So you gonna believe the Chinaman started this and the white man was over there? Bull crap. You think I'd believe a Euro before I'd believe a Chinaman? I mean, right? I'm sorry. I mean, I'm just, some of this is historical, and it don't always have to add up for it. There's certain biases that people have that are not analytical, or they don't come out. But there's enough analysis here for me. In the U.S., 4.5 Negroes die over white folks. Excuse me, 2.5 Negroes over white folks. And some atmospheres, and in Europe too, the Negroes over there are falling out fast. Some areas is 4-1. So I'ma just watch out, you know. Yeah, that's all I'm.
There was another brother sent a video. It's of a looks like either Pakistani or Indian, and he's speaking about. I'm kind of summarizing this. People like sending videos. I'm trying to. This is what they're sending you.
Mm-hmm.
And it's basically this Indian guy. He's speaking about how the immigrant community, they really, they kind of infatuated.
Excuse me, just 1 second. Assalamu alaikum.
Have you seen any of my combs? Like my purple comb, any of my picks? Suddenly I can't find them.
Well, I have a few around, but I'll be coming down in a little while. I'll try to hustle you up one.
Is it a purple comb?
Purple? No.
Okay.
Only combs I have is black.
All right.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Anyway, what was they saying?
Oh, yeah, he was just saying how, like say, the immigrant community, they, you know, they kind of idolize black people, but only on screen.
Right.
You know, they're fans of Michael Jordan, they like Michelle, Barack.
Yeah.
But at the moment, if a black man walks in their
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And you kind of even delved into some of the topics you talked about in the past about how around the world people got a thing about dark-skinned people. He was talking about his own culture and
Oh,
like that.
Indo-Pakistani? Shoo, my
They,
goodness.
they got a thing for, they don't like dark Pakistani women.
No, no, no,
You
no,
know,
no.
so I don't know, maybe you could talk a little bit about that and, you know, that dichotomy that about the immigrant community, about how they like black people on TV, just not in real life.
Yeah, not in the house and where you, okay. Uh, we call it, see, first, if, back to if you, the Indians, the Pakistanis, even the Persians, all people in the recent hundreds of years have moved to lightness. Okay. And it's a global phenomenon. And not only the lightness, but the formation of noses and lips and hair, all of those things. If you, Pakistanis, a light girl won't have, they'll marry her if she's 12 years old because she's light. No, they have it worse than Negroes do. Yes, because remember in that culture, Dravidians and the untouchables and all of that. Shoot, in Pakistan, you find the guys sweeping the dirt and all that usually will be darker, almost all the time. Okay. They know they have it, but they don't feel like it's anything particularly wrong with it. But if you got a light child, and it's a girl, you don't have to worry about her getting married. And they don't have bride prices, but she's top. She's gonna get it. Okay. Now, that's the sadness of placing quality and color. For some things, the color might have something to do with quality, like watermelons and other stuff. You look at the color and you look at certain flowers. The color has, it has, the color has something to do with it, you know. Okay, now, with people, it don't have anything to do with who they are when they're born. But as the society goes along, the society is going to invest in some and they're going to take from others. They're going to invest in lighter, this type of person. They do. Black people do it, all the people. They don't, if you're talking about Indians, you ought to see Negroes. You know, school days, they almost got it bad at school. I don't know if you ever saw that.
That's that movie where that guy goes to college.
Yeah.
Yeah, I watched it.
Yeah, school days is just what black people do, and they hire yellow girls and all of that. But now, you know, if that was 40 years ago, 30-something years ago, the society done changed. Mixed race children are like, then there was a few, but now it's like common. The farther you go back, it was in New Orleans. If you look at pictures of slaves, we were a black people, real black. Okay. You look at black people by the 20s, or if you look in the dancing girls or the movie girls, they had that brown paper bag test for them. Hollywood had it too. So you think about, you didn't see any dark-skinned women unless they were playing maids and stuff like that, right? But you didn't see black women playing normal roles. The black women would be definitely in a servant role and a beauty queen, if she's playing a nice looking black people. They didn't have no dark women playing those roles back in the 50s, 60s. 70s, they just didn't do it. 80s, they didn't do that. Okay. Now you get a few little, like the lady just died, Cicely Tyson, and a few more. They were darker skinned, but do you remember the lecture I gave in South Africa? And Dr. Kaleem Siddiqui was saying that I had spoke on race. And we never knew. He said, he was saying that's the deepest lecture that he had ever heard. And he was saying, we all know about race. And we're here in South Africa, the racial epicenter of the world at that time. He said, but this man right here, he done laid it down. He done brought out stuff we didn't even have no idea about the inner workings of it. So on the question of race, I would have to say that one of the best conversations I had about it was in New Orleans, when this guy, the Negro that had I'll think of his name, and he was super light with and everything. And I had the experience I had in New Orleans, the epicenter of the brown paper bag test, or the light paper bag test. They ought to get something like this, so you can't get it unless you, the manila. But anyway, I was on Canal Street, I'm telling you. So I'm standing there with Brother Saud. In those days, Saud was selling perfume. And then it was those days, selling perfume was different than these guys on the street now. You know, they looked like something is up. But that time, the ladies would come out of the office, and Saud was standing there. So Saud knew Saud was light. And he knew all the ladies. They were very formative with him and what have you. And I was standing there with him, and they would glance at me like, what you doing with that nigga? So after about a while, I just said, I don't know what's wrong with y'all, but I'm not from here. I'm not from New Orleans. I don't care what the hell y'all be doing down here. I don't care nothing about it. You know, I was telling them light women, they could look at the perfume, and then light Saud. And then the brother, Tar Baby, we was all in the car, 3 of us. The picture that Saud would give of New Orleans and all around was totally different than Blackie sitting back there in back. It was different. They were both friends. They hung out together. But they had different experiences. They had different experiences. And that's the reality of that time, and it haven't changed as much, but there's certain things that different people have. For instance, in my study of white girls, they don't lack, or they don't particularly want or go out and seek a light-skinned, curly-headed Negro. Black women do. But white girls they want them a jungle bunny stamped in. The jungle bunny, you ever see white girls who they choose? I don't need no, I have a whole family of white folks. I don't need no half-white person, right? You look at who white girls pull, that nigga gonna be dark or almost, he might be black, you know, but he ain't gonna be, look at him, watch him. You're not gonna find white girls with high yellow, wavy-haired men. Think about it. You don't see that many of them with them. Who you see them with? Tar babies. They want a tar baby. They don't want, I got this white folks all, I don't want no half-white man, you know. But now for the Negro, if he looking at a girl, ooh, a half-white woman, you know what I mean? No matter what the shades, you know, go from sign with me. They like that. Okay, this racial stuff is all over the world. It's getting better now. Chinese had it, Koreans had it, everybody had it, where white people made them feel inferior. That was because of colonialism. But now it's kicking back in where, and this Iranians and everybody, they all got it. They all got it, you know, okay. So this international racism is something we have to carry. I say let's carry it with responsibility. With responsibility, just to let the white folks know it don't bother me. I'm not going to carry a racist thing around with me. You don't have to worry about me because of a racial issue. And I'm not going to worry about you. I don't think you're better, and I don't think you... Look at the burden you put on people. Suppose a darky, Negro, marry a white woman because she's special. Suppose after 2 weeks he realized she ain't special. You done did her an injustice. You married her because she was supposed to be special. She's supposed to be white. Or if a white woman marry a darky, thinking that the darky is going to be more, nigga find out that he's a normal Negro. He's a normal human being. Look at the injustice that each people do to each other with cosmetic Hollywood views, mixed up historical views of the people's performance based on who they are, based on the people and how they relate, how mature they are, and da-da-da-da-da. Okay, peoples have different characteristics. They try to show black people as just mean as they can be and horrible, but black people are forgiving. They're forgiving. Remember, Marion Barry went to jail 50,000 times. And after he went to jail for crack, the bitch set me up. You know, this is on TV. Y'all remember that? Yeah, the bitch, Rashida, the bitch set me up. He's a Negro all the way. And black people voted him in as the mayor again. And he told her, y'all got to get over that. Why? Because black people got an uncle like that. Everybody got, this is our relatives. The nigga was good at everything, but he couldn't set down this, that, or that, right? And that's the way they looked at Marion Barry. He's a relative. So he just did, ain't nobody never been convicted of dope. And he come right out. This was a black city in those days. They voted him back in because they felt the white man set him up, the old Negro woman set him up, right? The system is against him. Forget that he smoked all the crack that they could find, right? Right, he smoked, the man. When I got here, I said, the mayor is in 89. I said, man, the mayor and everybody, you could get, DC was wild, and I loved it. If you needed stickers for your car, oh man, $35, I get you a pair, okay? I never bought nothing. I just go down, I went over, right, that shopping center right over there. It was on Benning Road. It was one of them big, places where you bought wood and everything, just like Home Depot. What was the name of that thing? It was right over there. There was a couple here. They don't have them anymore. But I went over there and I was buying wood, and the black woman was always trying to get a husband or something like that. So I had the wood on there, and I remember I had 45 pieces of wood. So the sister said, 15. I should say, well, I'm honest, I should say you miscounted. But she just said 15 and everything else. And that's the way they did. That's probably what run them out of business. I'll tell you the name of the place. But that was the environment when I came here in the late 80s, On the question, back to the question of race, You know, I wanted to tell, if I could dig the old ladies up, my mother's friends, because my mother was older. She was 38 or 40 when I was born, and my father was 40. They was all old. I was the youngest one, so they were all older. So all of my mother's friends, when I was coming up, was in their 50s. They was not young girls anymore. And they used to tell me, "Ooh, Ethel, he's a pretty little old black thing." So I just grew up thinking, I'm just a pretty black thing. I never had, you know, the stuff, and I didn't realize what they was doing because they was from the South. And the lighter you was in the South, each shade is a sign of approval. And I guess I looked at my pictures when I was younger, so I think I must have been a little darker, if that's possible. But I was really a little darky. And they would give me a big kiss and say, "Ethel, he's a pretty little old black thing." So I always grew up thinking, "Oh, pretty little old black thing." Everybody else, I could see what was happening in the society. You know, if you're white, you're all right. If you're yellow, you're mellow. If you're brown, sticker. I saw all of that. And I understood it but I just thought of myself, I'm just a pretty little old black thing, that's all, because that's what they told me. It didn't hit me, man, till in the 80s, and those people were dead then. I said, man, I wish I could dig them up and pump life into them or something and tell them how much I appreciated what they had did for me. But they wasn't young girls. See, if the young girls, ooh, he got curly hair, but when girls get older, they want a man. Somebody's gonna stay there, you know what I mean, with them, raise the kids. In those days, it was the darker, stronger, they didn't get first pick on the girls. They got second and third pick. The girls, when they, you know, they gonna go with what the society says is the handsomeness. You know, and then by the time the Negro get around there, the darkies, why they, you know, they have children already, stuff like that. You look at the first children, well, in those days, in my generation, they were always a little lighter because the people that was knocking the girl over, no matter what shade she was, they was, you know, it was moving towards. Anyway, that stuff, I just think a lot because it never hurt me, but it hurt most niggas. Hey man, I talk to brothers from New Orleans, and sometimes they would go off into a thing, and I remember even the masjid, this guy was a tar baby. He said, man, they make a thing like it's something illegal or wrong, you know, and they just look on out the corner of their eye, almost water in it. The niggas is too black, you know, and that's one of the biggest crimes that black people did to each other. That itself, but it comes from the Euro. Don't worry about that. That is going away. Everybody, the melting pot, when I say melting pot, these niggas is melting fast. And they melting white folks. And you don't see it here in D.C. You see it now, though, because you see it in the magazines, in the clothes, everything. Don't have the black, dark girl anymore. You have frizzly hair looking, right? Look at all this stuff. Mixed race. They ain't mixed race. They niggas. They just light-skinned niggas, what we call them. I want to tell you about a funny experience. The father of this German guy, one of the biggest Shabbos people I know, he married an Arab woman, an Egyptian woman. He's passed away now. He used to be at all our programs. He was a good speaker. He spoke here. He came here, and he came here in the 80s. No, he came here in the 90s. He looked around. He said, man, this is like Zimbabwe or Mozambique, you know. He was a revolutionary person. Now, his son, we was at a conference in Iran back, let's say 90, could have been the 90, it's not the 80s, but it was somewhere close to that. And he was a journalist too. And his father was from Switzerland. He was a Swiss. So the kid was, he was really a nice guy. And people that have problems lean on niggas all the time. Don't let me tell you if they don't. They lean. If you seem a little mature, so he was just telling me some of that thing. I feel out of place in here. I'm not white. I'm not black. I'm not. So I told him, I just said, oh man, in America you just be high yellow. He said, high yellow. He went to his father. I guess his daddy thought he was crazy. Who you been talking to? He said, Baba, I'm high yellow. And I was just telling him, oh, in America, shoot, you high yellow, you got, curly-ish hair. Man, you be right in with us. Ain't nobody would miss, What? I said, yeah, you high yellow. I mean, I guess I sounded like a damn fool telling them that it was just a response. I didn't go through the cultural and what it mean. His father was white, Switzerland, white. And his mother was an Arab, so she was lightish too. So he was high yellow, not just yellow. So I said, oh man, no. Like if you was with us, you'd just be high yellow. He went to his father and I could hear him, Baba, I'm high yellow. I almost started to say, I didn't explain to him. I didn't have to, but I'm trying to tell him that, here there would be no problem, right? Right here, you'd be right in with us. We'd just have a meeting and you'd go home and it ain't no problem. You want to marry somebody, you just you'd probably choose a darkie because you kind of yellow. You're not kind of yellow, real yellow. And that's the view that white folks, one little guy, he was about 10 years old when we was at ISNA headquarters the whole summer. This white woman had a child by a Tunisian or a Moroccan. And they all, Mediterranean looking. They look all like Greeks and everything. The white people said, oh, he's so beautiful. It's like he has a permanent tan. That's the way they looked at him. He has a beautiful tan. He's not black. Don't worry about that. He ain't black. But he's not ugly white. Where they're so white, they just pale faces. He's not a pale face. And they was saying, look at that. His hair, he is just right. That's what the white women were saying. This thing about color, unless it's like with camels and other things that have a lot to do with performance, well, some are better, then they ought to leave that alone. Because the color has nothing to do with the performance, it's what you think. And after that, if you think a white woman is better, you might go to your grave thinking this white lady is better, But if you break it down to just regular functional stuff, who do the white man like? He liked the nigger woman. And the darker the better, right? You see the Negro women that white men be rolling with? A tar baby. Yeah. You see, that's how Allah gonna fix all these dumb folks talking about color. Pretty soon the Chinaman's gonna be over here. You talking about 1.4 billion Chinamans, they're gonna be something else after a while, the 200-300 years. You're gonna have to be just like getting original dogs, like you get dogs from and they have the pedigree. This is a 100% German Shepherd. In a while, they're going to have this is a 100% Chinaman. And if you want a 100%, you're going to have to be, they're going to study you. They shoot you 62% Chinaman. You got round eyes and all that, but you just look like a Chinaman. You ain't no Chinaman. You something else. Then they're going to go break it on. You got a little bit of nigger in you, some Turk in you, so all this stuff here, all this stuff down here. They're going to get like that, but not us. One thing about Islam, it helps a little bit. It gives you a 10% boost in your ability to see people as people. But still, the yellow girl gonna get the best choice, and stuff like that. That's the way they do. You can't stop people. Look, when you're born with it, the people now, they may not be affected as much. In fact, you could tell they're not affected as much. But all they say is white people can't dance. They club-footed and dancing. And everybody it seems to know that. And I was watching TV, and the white girls was dancing like this, and my kids told me they don't do like that at college. Those are professional dancers. Them white girls at college are club-footed and all of that. But the girl is practicing on their little shows and all that. And I thought, white people can dance now. They said, no, they can't dance. They can't do them. People are almost paraplegic. You know what I mean? The way they move, they just don't do it. I'm not against them. That's just that's what stuff white folks have. You don't blame them for just try to teach them better. Are there any more questions or comments?
That's it. It's just,
I hope I didn't mean to talk that long, but.
you did. When I saw that video, I was like, okay, so I don't know, maybe your brother was trying to confirm a topic, because you had mentioned that months ago, that, the whole light-dark thing, it's not just a black thing. We're not the only tribe that does that. Other people, they got that problem too.
Oh, no doubt about it. Pakistanis, Indians, Iranians. No, they all got it. I think they got it from here. But one thing I tell the Negro, I said, people around the world don't hate you. They like you. They like niggas. I mean, they like the way niggas dance and talk. I don't know about these new Negroes, but I think they like them too. I don't, but I think the people do. The people still, cause they black. I said, man, they telling you how much people don't like you. I said, people be following me around down the street all the time. And whatever you do, they like it. And they think it's something special. It is something special. But I'll close with this. Everybody have to find out what their special gifts, not one gift like color or race, but what their gifts are, and develop those. And whatever you don't have, don't be ashamed of not having it. You have to, whatever you have to like yourself. If you want to modify yourself a little bit, if a white girl is born with a nose that sticks out here, if she get it cut down a little bit, it ain't gonna, although the Quran may frown on it a little bit, for her, she's not, slit in the ears for the stuff, So anyway, appreciate who you are and what Allah gave you. If you appreciate yourself, other people will appreciate you. If you don't appreciate yourself, eventually nobody else is going to appreciate you anyway. Eventually they're going to find out that nigga don't like himself. So why should I like him if he don't like himself? Okay, that nigga like himself. He likes his environment. He likes people. So it's all right with me. Right? Okay. Is that about it?
Yeah, outside of that, it's just Khadijah. Outside of that.
Oh, well, just wave at Khadijah. Khadijah, you just you tell, is she still on there? Khadijah, you tell Tattletales you was talking about you was in D.C. You know you ain't in no D.C., girl. You back in Oakland. You know, the girl is in Oakland. You think she would be here in D.C. and not here if this came? We've been here for 2 hours, right? If we'd have popped on this show and but not but a half hour, they can't be but a half hour away in D.C. You can't be but a half hour away in D.C. And ain't nobody rolled by here. Okay, y'all could stop telling lies. Here's what I'm going to tell you. Dear Khadijah, I'll be out in California maybe in another month or so. Maybe 2 months. But I'm going back to California to stay, and I'm going to have all of this in court, so you'll have all the time in the world. Whatever you think you got away with, don't worry about it. You're not going to get away with it. Whatever you think that you have, well, y'all will have served the white man. Since Khadijah's on there, just remember in the front of the masjid when we was sitting up in the front area, and I had a meeting with you and Mukhtar, and I told you in 2014 I was going to help y'all. That's what I told you, and I still mean it. I'm going to help y'all, because you got to outgrow what they told you. What Abdul Malik them and all them college grads told y'all, they told y'all they made you feel inferior, like you're dummies. They made Mukhtar feel inferior because he couldn't get good grades over there at the college. So Abdul Malik told him, be in security. I remember when I told Mukhtar, he was in the back of the car. Abdul Malik was sitting in the front seat on the passenger side. And I was telling Mukhtar about you could elevate yourself in education and stuff. And he took that stuff that we have in our things out to the college. And the college, well, she listened at here. I'm not going to have you interrupt. I'm going to finish telling you. I'm going to finish telling you what's going on. No, it's okay. I remember what did we call it? Not the dummy trap, but something or other. They can't listen without, you know what I mean? You don't have the patience I have. So I can listen to you run your mouth all day. I can have y'all do this, that, or other. It don't bother me. But you got to learn how to have patience. You got to remember, everything I told y'all was for your own good. And the other thing is, maybe y'all got that lighter bright. Maybe you think because Abdul Malik and them got curly hair, you might think no matter what, you know, a dark nigga have it hard sometimes. He can fly backwards, build submarines, and niggas still look at him like he's slow because he's dark. The nigga can fly airplanes, he can go underwater for 15, all that. That's the way y'all are. Because I don't look like that college-educated crew that y'all had sitting up here at that time in 2002. Do you know that was 19 years ago when I told you all of this stuff? 19 years ago, 2002. So I tell you the same thing. From then to now, you haven't made no progress. You want to make progress, you get with somebody who knows how to make progress. Evidently you don't. I'm sorry, you don't know how, or you would do it by now. And if you had good brotherly sense, you would be able to see me as a human being, not as what the white man told you and what Abdul Malik them told you. Abdul Malik them thought the same thing about me as they thought about you and Khadijah. They were college educated, excuse the expression, square ass niggas. They thought because the white man told them you're better than the other niggas. That's what they told them, and they believed it. I am smarter. Them niggas, they got big lips, they sign for them, wide noses and all that stuff, round fingers. We have pointed futures, all that. They believe that S-H-I-T. They believe it. They die with it. They them, what do they call them niggas at the school days niggas. They school days niggas. Remember the movie School Days? It had all to do with color, right? Everything was color. And the School Days niggas believe it, and they believe it. The niggas themselves. Khadijah and them believe it. They believe that she is the beauty, her beauty is insufficient because these other girls were skinny, pointed noses and all that, and she beat them up. This Khadijah, who's calling right here, she beat up all the tenders in Oakland. She beat them up, that Khadijah. Didn't you beat up the super yellow girl from over at the school? You beat up Zakiya. You beat up 2 or 3 more people around there. You beat up all the pretty girls, what we call pretty. You beat them up because you looked in the mirror and didn't like what you see. You didn't like what you see because they told you not to like yourself. If you don't like yourself, you're finished. If I listened to them niggas, I would have never been nothing. Nothing. Because in those days, it's one thing now. But in my time, being dark was a sign of almost like death. I mean, if you listen to, it wasn't for me, but I listened to brothers from New Orleans and them places. And I listened to people that even left here and went back down south a little bit, and they come back here, they was different shades. The people was deep in that stuff. You're going to let the white man give you a criteria, I'm talking to Khadijah now, about beauty and sense, and let me tell you something. See, here's the thing. You don't have no patience. You don't have no patience. I listen to you all the time, listen to the phone. I can feel the vibrations, the negative vibes. You can't sit still for 2 seconds without running your mouth. But I'm not answering the phone. You're going to listen to me or turn off your TV. I tried to help y'all. I did my, I ain't going to say damnness, I did my darnness to help y'all. Allah give, but that position for Mukhtar to be lead, everybody said, don't get that nigga nothing, he ain't qualified. Everybody said that. Everybody used to come by, and when your daddy come by, full of alcohol, I'd always help him. You remember, your father liked me because I respected him as an individual. I respected him as an individual. Y'all don't understand that. You might as well, you don't waste your time if you're trying to get me to feel one way or another. The other thing is we done already defeated whatever you was trying to do. Whatever you was trying to do, you ain't did it at all. And you got a trail as wide as I don't know what. And everybody knows that. It ain't that what I know. Everybody knows the things that you guys have allowed yourself. You allowed them white men and them yellow Negroes out there to make damn fools out of y'all. And just because I'm a darkie, you couldn't listen to me. Can't be smart, because the yellow niggas said he ain't got no sense. And the yellow niggas can't fry egg or they can't boil a potato. They can't boil a potato, that's all I'm saying. I'm not being reverse racist, I'm just saying Everything they do, they learned it from the school, the white man's school. You think the white man teach liberation to niggas? How to free yourself, how to liberate yourself, how to be a better human? They don't teach it because nobody come out of those institutions doing it. They come out imbalanced. I have a degree and such and such. So I'm smarter than those guys. Actually, you're not smarter than them guys. A guy out there on the corner dealing dope, and he got to survive or get killed, he got more sense than you do. Because his test is every day. He can't make no mistake. You can make a mistake on your test and still get 100. I mean, still get 99, get an A minus, 95, right? Make a mistake or two out there. See how long you'll be around. You got to look at all the people, every one of our people, their people, the people, have some good characteristics. Look for those. Ain't no sense of calling me, telling me I'm not this, and I'm sorry. I didn't listen to y'all then. I didn't listen to other Negroes 1,000 years ago. Why would I be listening to y'all and you can't do nothing but steal from your people that's trying to help you? Steal from people that's trying to help you. You can't find out nothing anybody did to y'all. You can't find anything. I'm still going to try to help you. I am going to try to help you. So I thank y'all very much, and I have to exit stage left right away.